Okay, hello, hello, hello. I think we're live. I think Facebook is liking me today. Yeah! If you can hear me, just say hi so I know that everything's sorted and going well. And feel free to share with other people and say, we are live now. Come join us. Also, we've got a start thinking question here. If you had to explain the difference between 10p and 1p to an alien, how would you do it? Oh, Zach! Hey, Zach! Hi, Luna! Jacob, I don't know what that means, but I love it. Second! Okay, got ya. That makes more sense. Okay, yeah. Hi, guys. Hi, 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 hi. Do tell people that we are here and live. Do share and do start thinking about this question here. I'll read it out loud to you. I'm hoping you can see it all right, but I don't know. I'm going to read it out loud to you. It says, if you had to explain the difference between 10p and 1p to an alien, how would you do it? Oh, wow, we've got loads of people back. You came to the waves lesson. Morning, guys. 20 euros. Okay. You can use euros work the same as pounds and pence, so it should be fine. It should be fine. It should be fine. Oh, we've got loads of people back from last lesson. Hi all. Dara Rose, I think you're new guys. That's awesome. Love to have new people here. Hello, hello, hello to everybody else though. It's so nice that you've come back. Thank you so much. I'm not gonna go hi, 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 hi this time, I'm afraid. Ah, Ezra, don't think I might be wrong. I didn't see you guys at the last one. So there's a little question to start thinking about on here. There's a little question to start thinking about. For you guys. So it says, if you had to explain the difference between 10p and 1p to an alien, how would you do it? Ah, hi Dexy! Yeah! I hope you've had a good 2 weeks off. Yeah, I've had a nice time too. I've had a really nice time. Well, it wasn't off though. I was doing prep work. But, you know, got to have a nice time too. A visual is great. I can see some people saying to explain 10p and 1p to an alien, you would need a visual demonstration. That is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. You are spot on there. Do not, like, you can do it however you want, but maths is actually hugely visual. You definitely, definitely need visuals for maths. I've been listening to some music in the 10-minute interval and I've got it stuck in my head and I'm just having a little boogie to get it out of my system. Okay, are we ready? Okay. Good morning, Maths Mob! Some of you are back. Some of you are having a maths morning. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, I want to dive into this fairly sharpish. So, this is a little bit new in that I've changed from number sense to this to make it super practical and helpful to people that are wanting to do formal qualifications in maths. So, my aim is to work through functional skills 1 and 2. I could separate it all out. We'll end up with so many lessons, I think we'll all fall asleep. Because, essentially, the content in functional skills 1 is mostly also in functional skills 2. Functional skills 2 just goes deeper and further, essentially. And then similar thing happens at GCSE. Okay, so my plan is to cover all the stuff in functional skills 1 and 2. I'll try to be as explicit as possible for anyone that is just doing functional skills 1 to say, this bit is functional skills 2. But I think it's an absolute, like, disrespectful to people's intelligence to partition things off to that extent and not let you just go to the level that you're ready for. My aim is to link all the content from these formal qualifications to things in real life to make them understandable. My big things about learning maths, which hopefully is going to become very, very obvious through this. Problem solving, absolutely key. Solving one big problem is going to be more important than practicing 20 questions using a single method. Visual, drawing things, super important as well. Linking to real life, so it actually means something and isn't super abstract, although some things are just pretty abstract in maths, I'll be honest. Edexcel is the exam board I'm working around because it covers all of these things, okay? Including IGCSE, because IGCSE and GCSE, super similar. Right, we started off, I said, what is the difference between 10p and 1p if you're talking to an alien? Lots of you said you would need a super visual thing. Lots of people have said, like, they need lots of 1p's. You're spot on. You're spot on. Of course it's visual. I have 10 1p's. But essentially, if I did, yeah, I would draw a picture. You can draw on anything. Yeah, good point. Drawing on iPad's really helpful. You'll notice I use whiteboards. I've been teaching for 15 years. I've noticed people do more maths if they can rub it out than if they can't. I'd fully advocate whiteboards. The bigger the better. You'll see I've got a giant one behind me that I use really regularly for when I'm having my brain needs to explode moment. Okay, so 10p is the same. If we've got 1 10p, we would need 10 1p's. So I'd need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to make the 10p. Now, why am I asking you this in a lesson about decimals? Why on earth would I have started talking about money in a number about decimals? It's for a really important reason that I'm hoping to show you now. So if we were to write this in terms of money, you absolutely can write 1p and 10p. Everyone's going to understand that. But we also need to be able to write it in terms of pounds and pence. So if I were to stick a pound symbol on here, I'd write 1p as 0.01. If I were to stick a pound symbol on here, which I should have done, I've made an error of judgment here, it would be 0.10. The difference is with this one, if we're not talking about money, we can drop that 0 at the end. This 0 actually is just telling us we don't have any single pence. We've just got lots of the 10 pence. So this bit here, we're going to go into place value in a little bit. But the key difference when we're looking at these two numbers, 0.01 and 0.1, is to think in your head about money. Which one means 1 pence and which one means 10 pence? And then automatically it becomes a lot easier to work out which one is bigger and which one is smaller. So place value, you may have heard of this before, place value. Don't worry too much about the terminology. That's more just a way for me to explain it. But essentially means where the number sits is important in our number system. So in number sense, I dived into this a little bit. In things like the ancient Egyptian system, for example, they didn't have place value. They used different symbols to mean different things. So if you wanted to talk about hundreds, you needed to write a certain amount of a certain symbol to show how many hundreds you had. And same with thousands, same with 10,000, same with ones, tens, and so on like that. They had different symbols meaning different things. So it meant numbers got really long, really quickly. It also means that the bigger numbers get, you need more pictures or ways of showing that number. And that's an issue because numbers are infinitely long. In fact, an amazing thing that came out of my daughter's mouth the other day. What if numbers just wrap around back on themselves in that instead of being infinitely long in one direction, getting bigger and bigger, and then infinitely negative numbers getting smaller and smaller and smaller, what if they just wrapped around in a circle back on themselves? And I was like, whoa, that's a thought. But the truth is that they're infinitely long in both directions, and to be able to express these numbers, we need a system where we could do that without creating new images all the time. And that's all a written number is it's an image or a picture for us to use. So the place value system is really nice. We only need 10 different images or pictures or numbers as we've got to know them to use in the place value system. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And depending on where we put them, they have different meanings. So I've got an example here for you. If we wanted to say 30,000, we put the 3 in the 10,000s column and then we put zeros in all these other positions to show that that 3 is worth 30,000 and not 3,300, 330 or 3. Similarly, with 300, we would need to put the 3 in the hundreds column and then replace the other column, like put zeros in the other column so we know that it's worth 300 and not 3 tens or 3 ones. This also goes on into decimals. So when we're talking about decimals, you've got the headings to the column go tenths, which you may see written differently. It depends how different places write them differently. I've used words here, but mathematically speaking, you can write tenths like this, 1 over 10. The confusing thing is here I've got 3 in the hundredths column, and it's not 1 over 100, it would be 3 over 100. So my experience is sometimes that can confuse people, but we can write them like that as well. We can write them as fractions, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, and so on like that. And depending where the digit is tells us the size of it. And just like with whole numbers, the further right we go, the smaller we get. So with these ones, 300, the 3 in the hundreds column, is representing a smaller number than the 3 in the thousandths, in the 10,000ths column. As we went to the right hand side, this direction, I don't know my left and right, I have to remind myself all the time. As we go this way, it's representing smaller and smaller numbers, and that continues here as well. We're representing smaller and smaller numbers as we go towards the right. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, so I asked you to bring sometimes maths. So I think the genius about maths is actually that it makes your brain hurt sometimes, because if it doesn't, then we're probably not learning anything, are we? If you already know it, your brain doesn't hurt. Oh, Luna, you are so sweet. Thanks. I pretend, sometimes I tell myself I don't worry about what other people think, but the truth is I do like it when other people like me. So I asked you to bring some coins with you. You've not seen my face in a while, so sometimes I think it's important. Some people genuinely just need to see a face to learn better. It's true. I'm genuinely not making that up. Faces help some people learn better. So I asked you to bring some coins. If you've got them, great. If you've not, you can draw these. That's absolutely fine. However you want to work, you can just think it, whatever suits you. The reason I encourage the drawing or having the coins is that visual aspect. It's so important to have visual ways to be able to do maths, because so 5 parts of your brain you use to do math. 2 of them are entirely visual areas of your brain. Okay, so I asked you to bring some coins, which I'm going to show you now. So, and I wanted you to order them, please. So can you put them in order? Okay, they're the coins, and I'm asking you to put them in order. Okay, so I'm going to flick this up, and I'm going to put mine in order over here. And then we can discuss what we've done. Some of you are so fast. Some of you are absolutely rapid. Speed is not important in maths. By the way, I'm not trying to say don't be fast. Like, do what suits you. But, like, also, just know that being fast sometimes is great, but sometimes also it just doesn't matter so much. So take your time. Do it at your pace. If you're a fast person, go fast. If you're a slow person, go slow. If you're a medium person, go medium. Oh, good question. Oh, is that my favourite question ever? Because I just did not think about this at all. Ordering worth or size? I meant order in terms of worth. So as in if you were trying to pay for something, the worth of them in that respect. But blooming good question. Oh yeah. It's fun doing maths on your iPad, isn't it? Totally. I never even thought of this. Have you downloaded the workbook onto your iPad so you can like do bits on there, or are you just drawing pictures onto like a whiteboard screen sort of thing? Because I think that works really well. No problem at all. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I've done. And then, interestingly, I bet some of you have done it differently. But I'm wondering about this. Okay. So, can you see that? I'm hoping, because I have to do this upside down. My laptop's telling me to close some pages because it's struggling with bandwidth. So I'm going to do that now. Ah, yes. Luna, you are my person. Oh, no. Yeah, no, quite a few of you have done this. Oh, awesome. Yes, this is perfect. Right, I've gone 1 pence, 2 pence, 5 pence, 10 pence, 50 pence. No, I've not. 20 pence, 50 pence. And then a pound. Yeah? But some of you, I think. Oh, cool. Awesome, Ruby. Not Ruby. That's not who I meant at all. Sorry. Getting names muddled. Who did I mean? Abby. Abby. I said Ruby. I didn't mean Abby. I meant Abby. Some of you have done this. You've gone a pound, 50 pence, 20 pence, 10 pence, 5 pence, 2 pence, 1 pence. Okay, so that actually, there's some mathematical language in there. And it's depending on whether you've done ascending or descending. And I purposely didn't tell you which one to do so we could have a little chat about this. Because frustrating, sometimes in real life it really, really matters. So there's going to be times, and I can't think of one off the top of my head, where it matters which order it goes in, whether it's going up or down. In an exam situation, they are going to use the word ascending or descending. And the best way I can describe this is about stairs. If you are ascending the stairs, you are going up. If you are descending the stairs, you are going down. And you can see my little person actually looks like they're about to fall over going down, because I wasn't thinking about that one very well there. So I didn't say which one to do. And I'm going, because it looks like most of you have done descending, going down, I'm going to stick with that, but don't worry if you did it the other way around, that's absolutely fine too. So what I'd like you to do now, next to each of them, if you can manage this, is write down what their worth is in terms of pounds and pence. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. Okay, so I'm going to write down, and I'm going to, so I wrote on my whiteboard earlier using a Sharpie, and ironically it was about my tax returns. They probably did need to be in permanent marker, but I'm not going to make that mistake again. So for £1, I might write it as 1.00, and you can absolutely put a pound sign there if that helps. Okay, so next to each of these, we're going to write down the amount in pounds and pence, essentially. If you did descending, that's fine. If you did ascending, that's fine. You can do it either way. Ooh, ascending or descending pitch of your voice. That is nice. No, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to hurt people's ears. But I'm sure other people with slightly better pitch than me could do that. So I'm going to do that whilst you do that too. Okay, I'm going to do it upside down, which is always interesting. Yeah, I did remove, I got rid of the permanent marker. I used, probably, you put alcohol in it. I bet these pens have got alcohol in them because I used a dry white pen over the top and got rid of it. Luckily it was my own, so I didn't need to worry about it too much. I wasn't going to be in trouble with anyone. Which often happens in my life. I often make these mistakes, and it's actually a shared item with my husband, and he's actually very rarely cross, which is relief. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I've done. See if you've done similar. So I've put a pound sign on that one, but forgot to put them on the rest of them. Another tip here: don't use a pound sign and a pence sign. These are all written in pounds. If I put pence next to them, it would mean 0.5 pence. So that's a bit of exam technique. Some of these things make me want to vomit because it's so annoying, because we all actually know what you mean. But I've got to tell you, because I wouldn't be doing my job properly if I didn't. So I've written all of these in terms of pounds, because I've written them as like 1.0 point and so on like that. So we've got 1.00. I went descending. So this is my biggest number to my smallest number. So hopefully you can see there that as we get smaller, we're having to write digits in the, and she needs to work out her left and right hand column. So they're sort of shifting over to the right hand side, as well as them getting smaller. So it's 5, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1. And actually, if we weren't talking in terms of money, some of these we wouldn't need, because actually this is just saying we don't have any 10 pence and we don't have any 1 pence. We could just write it as £1 like that. In terms of 50 pence, this makes more sense. But again, if we're talking like in terms of half of a pound, we could just write that as 0.5 and it would be exactly the same thing. Maybe it would help if I wrote it next to it like this. So we could just write it as 0.52. This can be helpful to know though, because if you've got 0.5 and you want to compare it to something like 0.05, it can be helpful to write it as 50 pence so that you can compare them. It can be easier to compare because we're more used to seeing 2-digit numbers, like 10, 20 and so on like that. So that can be really helpful. So that's how I don't know if I described that well, but hopefully lots of you are putting the answers. They're the same as what I had put there. Okay, right, the next thing I was going to ask you to do, so that two-digit decimals, you can get decimals as long as you like. They can be infinitely long. Specifically in functional skills, I keep saying key skills, I don't mean to, I mean functional skills. Sometimes I get excited, words come out my mouth before my brain engages. Apologies. So functional skills, you do need to be able to do up to 3 decimal places. So I was like, right, real life, where do we see that? So if you've got a measuring jug with you that measures millilitres and litres, that's amazing. If you haven't, you can just watch. That's no problem. I don't know if it's, I don't know. It's hard to set it up so that you can definitely see the, the measurements on here. I really could do with like a white background, couldn't I, so that you can see that better. Let me get a white piece of paper just to try and highlight that. Hopefully this will help. Okay. And now I need to make that smaller. This isn't going so well. I didn't think this through. I need this to be up higher. I don't know if you can see that well enough. Don't know if you can see that well enough. What I'm going to do then, I'm going to ask you to do it, and then I'm going to do it, and then I'll show you. I think that's probably going to be the best bet. So can you try, if you've got some water, to fill it up to 350 mils. So it's got 350 mils of water in it. Okay, so I'll turn you around so you can see what I'm asking you. So you've got it written there. Some people process better when they're reading, and some people process better when they're hearing. So let's do a bit of both. 350 mils. I'm going to try and do the same. Oh man, water's going everywhere. That's not ideal for my laptop. Okay. 350 mils. So 350 mils in there. Now to make it so you can see that, let's give it a go. Okay. So hopefully, if you can see on mine, if you've not got this on yours, I'm going to try and balance you on my lap here. My jug goes up to 1 litre. So 350 mils is below halfway. It's well below the halfway point, isn't it? It's not like right down here, but it is below halfway. It's halfway between 300 and 400 mils here. So we're looking for a number. If we're talking in terms of litres, we know it's going to be less than half, so less than 0.5. It's going to be 0 point something, and some of you are so just to clarify, chaotic maths is normal. Chaotic maths is totally normal. It's your brain getting everything out, like in excitement. So it's below 0.5. So we're looking for a number that is below 0.5 here. So this 350 mils, I've already seen in the comments that somebody's managed to write that as a decimal. So if you wanted to write that as a decimal, as in how much of a litre it is, how would we go about writing 350 mils in terms of litres? How much of a litre would that be? Okay, I'm going to just move this before I throw everything on the floor accidentally. How much of a litre would that be? Balancing too many things at once. I love giving myself a little bit of adrenaline. What if it all goes wrong? It's so exciting. Ah, some of you are doing that. Right, cool. Some of you are doing this. Some of you are dropping the zeros as well. Oh man, and you can do it as a decimal. Right, this is fascinating. I love interactive lessons because I love it when you can ask me questions because you take me off in directions I don't even think about, and that's amazing. Keep the questions coming. So I'm going to go into this, and then I'm going to talk. We'll talk about the percentage bit. Absolutely. So here I've written, which I think would be fairly automatic for lots of people, 0.350, because you've got 350 here. You would keep the same digits. This is absolutely correct, but lots of you have correctly dropped the 0 as well. These mean exactly the same thing because we've got 3 of the tenths, 5 of the hundredths, none of the thousandths, basically. So that 0 just means we don't need it. We don't need like a placeholder here. If you've not got a measuring jug, don't worry. You can just watch. Some of you asked about the link to percentages, and you are spot on. You can make a link to percentages there as well. So if we were thinking of a litre being 100%, then half a litre would be 50% because it's halfway between. So that can help with working out what percentage 350 millilitres would be, and it would be 35%. So it's close to the 50, but not like quite there, if that makes sense. If you think of 0.35%, that would be right down the bottom here. That would be a tiny amount because it would be less than a milliliter. No, less than 10 millilitres, sorry, less than 10 millilitres. So 0.35% would just be a teeny tiny amount at the bottom here. So yeah, that would be equivalent to 35%. That's a really good point there. Really, really good point. Okay, so I've got some questions for you. I've got some questions. How I'm going to try and do this is in lessons, I believe in minimal questions that you think about really deeply. Minimal questions thought about really, really deeply. So the big bit for me is the problem solving idea. So what I'm going to do is I've got a couple of questions here. The first question is very much functional skills 1, what you would need to be able to do in functional skills 1. The second one is for functional skills 2 and GCSE. So I've tried to put tick boxes next to them. I will try to remember to do that. My brain doesn't always work like that. It doesn't always work like it sometimes knows stuff and forgets to put the pictures there. So I will try and do that each lesson. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you these questions now and give you a minute or so. Don't panic if you can't do these in time. Just have a think about what you want to think about. Okay, so the first question is put these numbers in ascending order. So remember, we're ascending the stairs and our voice is getting higher as we go. And then these ones, I've said put the correct sign between the following pairs of decimals, and I forgot to put the sign on, so I'm going to show you what those signs are here. They are called inequality signs or larger and less than signs. So that's what I mean by those signs there. And sticky note, you are going to stay there. Stay there. Okay, so that's the signs that I meant. There. Sticky note's not listening to me. There we go. Is pen going to help? No. Okay, have a go at those now because I'm gonna like go through those in a second, and because this is live, I'm not gonna like spend too long on these, but feel free to come back to them. You absolutely have every right to come back to them whenever you want. Okay, I'll pop this up on YouTube so that you can like watch it whenever you want. And sometimes it can feel really horrible learning maths and learning anything, quite frankly, sometimes, because you get given questions where you're like, oh man, I really just don't know what to do with it. But actually the thinking part, even if you really, really struggle to get anywhere with it, is a really valuable part of learning. If you're stuck, think, what do I know that's definitely not correct? What do I know that's definitely not correct or totally wrong? That can be a really, really good starting point. What is definitely not correct? It does look like some cartoon eyes. Yeah, it's meant to be like, so that means this bit is greater than the other side. This one means less than. Okay, so we've got greater than, less than. I will talk through those a little bit more in a sec. Also, I'm going old school. I thought I'd be able to write on my screen, but I'm just going old school because I'm using whiteboards, because high tech just doesn't do it for me. It does look a bit like an emoji, absolutely. Maths is also doesn't lend itself to typing, which is very annoying. If you do have the workbooks downloaded, there is space to do these in there. Don't worry if you don't, you can just do it without. It's no problem. Okay, like 30 more seconds and I'm going to have a look at these. Don't panic, like it's not about speed. If you've not done it in that time, you just do something like it another time. It's fine. Sometimes it's time for listening. Ah, yeah, it says ascending. We're going up. We're getting higher. Okay, how are we doing? What I'm going to do, I'm going to trial something here. I'm going to try writing the right way up. Okay, so I'm going to start going through these. Just because I'm keen to get onto the adding and subtracting part as well today. There's a lot of content in maths, a lot of content. So it can feel a bit of a rush, but what we can do is talk about key bits, and then the idea is that the workbooks gives you like the time to do practicing as well. Yeah, I'll do a mini quiz. I'll do a mini quiz as well. Okay, so what I find helpful with these then is to think of them as all the same length as each other. So a bit like with my measuring jug, when I had 0.35 litres, I could write that as 350 mils. So it was helpful to have the 0 to make it longer. So I'm going to put zeros here to make them all longer. You don't have to do this, but for me, visually, this really helps. They all start with a 6. So that bit's not going to be helpful to me. But if I look at the next digit, I can see that this one is going to be the biggest, because I'm used to seeing that 900 is bigger than like 810, 490 and so on like that. So that's going to be my biggest. I've said ascending order, didn't I? So I should have started with the smallest. So I'm actually doing this back to front. But Sylvie, you've probably been sensible and read it properly and done it the right way around. I am going to not do that because that's me. So I can put that one first. Then the next biggest is going to be the one that has the 8 in this column. So it'd be 6.810. Then the next one's going to be the one with the 4 in that column. So 6.490. And then we've got 2 that have got a 1 in that column. So if I look at those, it's 6.100 and 6.106. So because this has got a 6 in that thousandths column, it is slightly bigger. So we need to put that one below and the other one above. And then finally, we've got 6.006 as our smallest one. And then I can go through and just rub out the extra zeros that I don't need to put it back in terms of what it was before. Okay. Then if we're looking at the other 2, I asked for you an inequality sign in between them. Again, I can find it really helpful to write them the same length, but also it can be helpful to have one on top of the other so you can compare them easier. So if I put this 2.51 underneath 2.501, then it can be easier to compare. And I'm putting that 0 on the end so they're the same length again. The 2's are the same, the 5's are the same, but then this column is the telling point. 0 is smaller than 1. So this number, the 2.501, is the smaller one, so I'd put the inequality this direction. The smaller one at the smaller end, the bigger number at the bigger end. Similarly with the second one, they are both the same length as each other. And if I write one underneath the other, 0.201, I can compare. Zeros are the same, but then when I go to the next column, the 2 is bigger than the 0, meaning that the 0.021 is the smaller one, so I want the inequality the same way around again. The smaller end going to the smaller number there. Okay, so I said that we would also look at addition and subtraction of decimals. This is a good testing point for me to see how much we will get through in one lesson. So I'm going to start off with a big problem. I'm a firm believer in doing it. It can feel overwhelming though. It can feel very overwhelming to be given lots of words and lots of information to process. I'm going to do that now. If you feel like you can just work through the whole problem, go for it. Just go for it. That's absolutely fine. If it does feel super overwhelming when you see all of these things, start with what you do know. Just make a note of anything you do know and you can do. And when you're breaking down a problem, that is a really good way to work. What do I know? What can I work out? And then you'll have some new information because you've worked something out. Then you look at that and you go, right, what do I know? What can I work out? And slowly work your way through that. It doesn't always take you on a direct path straight to the answer. And that's what maths is like. Sometimes you just wiggle around getting to the answer. And that's absolutely fine. Okay? So, you and your lava chickens. Yeah, I've not watched the Minecraft movie, but I've heard a lot about it. Okay, here's the question then. I'm going to take a drink of water and I'm going to read it out to you. Janet buys these items with a £20 note. How much change does she get? She's getting a birthday card, which is £1.95. She's getting a birthday cake, which is £5.40. She's getting some candles, which cost 95p, and some wrapping paper that cost £1. Okay, I'll read that one more time, and then I'll give you a chance to have a little think about it. Janet buys these items with a £20 note. How much change does she get? So she's getting a birthday card for £1.95. She's getting a cake for £5.40, some candles for 95p, and some wrapping paper for £1. How much change is she going to get from her £20 note? So I'm going to be quiet for a minute. I'm going to be quiet whilst you have a go at this and have a think about what you're doing. Even if you can't get all the way through the question, thinking about the process or how you would start this is a really, really valuable learning tool. I'm seeing lots of things about £9.30. We definitely need £9.30 in there. I'm not convinced it's the final answer. The £9.30 is definitely part of it though. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to start going through this then. Start having a look at it. I hope I've given you enough time to have a good think about it at least. So we've got different amounts of change, different amounts that people are getting. I've started off with the cost of the card and the cost of the cake. So the cake was £5.40 and the card was £1.95. I think they're quite easy to line up with each other because they've both got pounds and pence. When it comes to the candles, which were 95p, and the wrapping paper, which is £1, that can be a little more complicated of where to line it up. So the 95p we must make sure goes in the pence area. So it's £0 and 95p. It can be helpful to add the 0 in if you want to. Then similarly with the pound, we need to make sure that goes in the pounds column, and it can be helpful to put zeros in the pence column to make sure that we know that bit. So in functional skills, I believe this would be non-calculator. You would need to do this without a calculator. So column addition can be a really effective way to do this in quite a straightforward way. We're doing adding up this first column, which is our pence. 5 plus 5 gives us 10. We can't have 2 digits in here, so we put a 0 there, and then we carry the 1 over to our next column, which is saying how many 10p's we've got. So now we need to do 9 plus 4 plus 9 plus 1. I would do 1 plus 9 first because it gives me 10, plus 4 gives me 14, plus 9 gives me 23. So I can have 3 10p in there, but the 20 is going to have to go into my pounds column to make it £2. So I'm going to change my 20 10p's for £2. And then I'm going to add up the pounds I've got. So 1 plus 5 plus 1 plus 2. So that gives me 6, 7, 8, 9. So £9.30 is being spent altogether. Now at this point, lots of people would automatically go to a column subtraction, which is absolutely possible, and I will show you how to do that. But also I think there's a logical bit to this, isn't there? If she's got £20, Janet, and she's spending £9.30, that's less than £10 that she's spending. So you're expecting her to get £10 change plus a bit more. And the bit more is what's going to be the extra to get this up to £10, which is 70p. So she's going to get £10.70 change. You can absolutely do a column subtraction as well. Column subtractions can be beneficial to lots of people, and some people can find them really frustrating. I will leave that up to you to decide. For £20, I'm going to have £20 and no pence, and I need to put my £10.70 underneath. When I'm doing, I start again in my pence column. 0 take 0 gives me nothing. I can't do 0 take 7 without getting a negative, and we're not going to work with negative money today. She's definitely going to get positive money. So we need to exchange some money. So we go to this is our £10 column. We're going to exchange one of those £10, leave one there, into £1 coins. So now we've got 10 £1 coins here. And we're going to exchange one of those. We're going to leave 9 £1 coins there and exchange those for some 10p's. So we've got 10 10p's. Now I've got 10 10p's, take away 7 10p's. That leaves me with 3 10p's or 30p. £9 take away £0 gives me £9. That's one £10 note, take away another £10 note, leaves me with no £10 notes. And we tend to not write that bit in. So we get that £9.30 there too. So you can absolutely... Oh! Wait a second, what have I done wrong there? Have I taken away the wrong thing? Ah, man, guys, I've just made a mistake. I took away £10.70. I should have been taking away £9.30. It's because I remembered the wrong number. Let me do that again, because some of you will be looking going, what? What's she on about? Even I had that moment. Okay, 20. And we were taking away £10.70. Oh, no, we were taking about £9. We were taking away £9.30, weren't we? That's what we were doing. So we do 0 take 0, gives us nothing. We can't do 0 take away 3 without getting a negative. So we exchange our £10 note for 10 £1 coins to make it so we've got 10 £1 coins. Exchange one of those, leave 9 £1 coins there, exchange one to give us 10 10p's. 10 take away 3 gives us 7. 9 take away 9 gives us no pound coins. And we've got one £10 note, take away no £10 notes, which gives us £10.70. I took the answer away. I did it the wrong way around, didn't I? I did it the wrong way around. Absolutely. Oh well, these things happen. That is life. So I've got another problem for you, which is to do with perimeter of a rectangle. Before I show you that problem, if I wanted to walk so this is a vivid memory for me at school in PE. I had a heated discussion with my PE teacher who wanted me to do something I was not a fan of and I didn't want to do. And so my other option, which became non-optional very quickly, was to run around the perimeter of the field 3 times. And I learned many things in that moment. But the perimeter being one, the perimeter is going around the edge of something. If you're running around the perimeter of something, you are going around the edge of it. Okay, so I want to know the perimeter of this rectangle, which I'm going to show you now. Can you work out the perimeter of this rectangle? The second method of the subtraction is that. Yeah, it's okay. The second method with the subtraction, it can be really confusing to do a subtraction using column addition. It can be a useful tool to go over for sure, but don't panic too much if it's not for you. You can use other methods to do it. multiple methods is really, really helpful with things like this. But what would be the perimeter of this rectangle? Or if you can think of me running around a field if you would like. This is a smaller field than the field I did PE in. So, you know, you can feel sorry for me if you want to. You don't have to, but, you know, you can do. So the perimeter, I would start at a point here, say, you can choose any points, but I'm going to start at this corner, and I'm going to run, 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 maybe stop and take a breath, run, 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 and then finally leg it back to the start. Couple of answers. This sort of question, this would be, could be on any of the functional skills or GCSE. So, okay, I'm going to give you, a few people have answered. I'm going to give you like 30 more seconds to have a think about it. And I'll show you what I would do. So I'm going to use a column addition again for this. Okay. So the thing that I think is important to note here, when we're talking about perimeter, we're going to get this 3.4 meters repeated at the bottom here. So we're going to go 3.4 plus 0.67 plus 3.4 plus 0.67, because we've got to run that distance forwards and backwards. Similarly, we've got to run this distance forwards and backwards. So when I'm adding them together, I'm going to need to add together 2 lots of the 3.4 and 2 lots of the 0.67. And I'm lining up that decimal place to keep everything in line. And I might even put zeros here to help me remember that I'm adding on nothing at that point and just to keep everything in line. So I'm going to start off in my the furthest column to the right. This is the hundredths column. 0 plus 0 plus 7 plus 7 gives me 14. I'm going to put the 4 from the units in that column and take the 10 over into the tens column. Then I'm going to add up the tens column. 4 plus 4 plus 6 plus 6 plus 1. Well, 4 plus 6 gives me 10, so I would do this in a different order. I would do 4 plus 6 gives me 10. 4 plus 6 gives me 10, so that's 20, and then plus the 1. So I'm going to put the 1 here and carry the 2 over to the column, the ones column. I'm going to need a decimal here to keep everything in the correct column. And then I'm going to do 3 plus 3 plus 2, which gives me 8. And quite a few of you have also popped the meters on there. Often in exams, it does give you the meters. It absolutely does give you the meters. We absolutely do not have any dumb people in this lesson. I promise. It's not possible. Getting things wrong is an opportunity to learn and think about it really carefully in the future and to reflect on it. Did you know that one of the most important ways to learn is actually to reflect on how you learn? Can you believe that? You learn better just by thinking about how you learn. Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? Okay, I'm just realising what the time is. I'm going to skip the last question that I put on here just to get us to, so we can do the quiz. The quiz is true or false. And I'm going to do a little blurb for you, and then you have my absolute blessing to leave. The quiz, true or false. So if you've got the workbook, you can use that. If you don't need it. You can absolutely just shout things out and think about things. And you can write anywhere, write on anything. Okay, question 1. Remembering these are all true or false. True or false. 0.320 is bigger than 0.32. True or false? I'll make it so you can actually see that. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? True or false? Okay, I get for this one false. Now I'll show you why I get false. So if you agree with me. See if you agree with me. If I put them in line with each other, one on top of the other, and line them up, the zeros are the same. And so I'm going from left to right. I'm looking at the biggest digit first. So that, not the biggest digit, the biggest value first. So the ones. The threes are the same, but then when I come to the hundreds column here, this 0 is smaller than this 2. If I put a 0 on the end here, it can help compare them because 302 is smaller than 320. So the bigger one, I believe, is this one here, 0.320 or 0.32, which in this case, because of how I maybe confusingly worded the question, means this is false. I believe it's false. I believe it's false. Second question. 740 centimetres is the same as 7.4 metres. True or false? True or false? Okay, yeah, this one is, I believe, to be true because of this fact here. 100 centimetres is the same as 1 metre, which you may not have known, and I didn't cover in the session actually, which means we can treat it almost like pounds and pence. So if we've got 7 metres, that is going to be the same as 700 centimetres. So if we've got 740 centimetres, we would need to put 7.4 metres to make it so that they line up with each other. Because we've got to multiply by 100 to get from metres to centimetres. Yeah, it's confusing. A good way to remember if it's 100 or 1,000, the word centi is linked to the word 100. I think it's centi. Centi is 100th of a metre. It's 100th. Centi. Or cent, sometimes. You hear of cent in terms of money, because you need 100 of them to make $1, I believe. So that one, I believe to be true. Okay, the next one is a lucky one. You have to be able to, not lucky. Lucky, I mean that as in you have to look at it. You need to be able to see this one. I've written it out in a column method, but you may prefer to rewrite this, and that's absolutely fine too. I'll read it as well. 54 take away 3.1 equals 2.3. And it's true or false again? True or false? Okay, so this one I believe to be false, and I think it becomes more obvious if I said something like this. If I showed it like this and said 54 pounds take away 3 pounds, 3.1 pounds or £3.10, I think most people would go, wait a second, I don't want £2.30 change. Give me £50 in my change. You are cheating me. And actually, where that comes from, it can be really confusing. We've made the numbers abstract here. Well, numbers are abstract in themselves. We've made it even more abstract by taking it out of context. When we put some context in it in terms of pounds, it becomes more obvious what we're talking about. And essentially, what we need to do, I'm going to flip you down here, is line up where the decimal point goes. So if we think of it as £54 and no pence, and £3 and 10 pence, it becomes more obvious what we need to do. And then when we do that subtraction, we're doing 0 take away 0. We can't do 0 take away 1 without getting a negative, which is unhelpful here. So we're going to borrow from the £1. There was 4 £1. We're going to make it 3 £1 and exchange those for 10 pence pieces. So we've got 10 pence pieces, take away 1. That leaves us with 9 pence pieces, or 90 pence. Then we've got £3 take away £3 is nothing, and that's our 5, which is our five £10 notes. Take away nothing leaves us with 5 £10 notes. So we should have got 50.9t, or well, 50.9. We don't have to write that 0 there. You can remove it. Either they mean exactly the same thing. They mean the same thing as each other. Okay, because I want these to be absolutely as helpful as possible, I've created workbooks for these. I gave out a free workbook this week. If you enjoy these lessons and feel you can support them, then you can support them in the same way that Laura from Theatre Science does, where there's like a cheap monthly membership. And what I do, if you pay £5 a month, you become a triangle, and you'll get through the post my Math Mob memo, which is all about hands-on ways to explore fractals, and it's also got some puzzles in there that are all mathematical to solve. And you also get, I didn't mean to chuck that, I just didn't want it to get wet. You'll get like my original Math Mob memo, just to introduce Math Mob Monkey, and some origami paper as a little thank you through the post. If you want to become a square, which is £6 a month, you also get these downloadable printable workbooks. It takes you through all the notes in the lesson, so you can use that in the lesson if you want to, no pressure. But also there's a bit at home. So there's a section that's going to be, I only have time to do 3 questions, and the key 3 questions I think you should practice. In my opinion, the most important bit is having got a problem-solving question. You get way more out of something like that than you do practicing 20 questions. And then I'll link you to some free resources online if you want to do more practice on that topic. And that's to be used exactly how you want to use it. As I said, my plan is to work through all the key skills 1 and 2, and then anything that we've not covered in that I plan to do with separate GCSE lessons once I've finished these ones too. Going up to foundation level, the content's too much for me to cover higher as well, I'm afraid, at the moment. But yeah, that is all there for you. You can just grab that from the link on my page. Also, can I ask a favour from anyone? This is not going to cost you anything but maybe 30 seconds of your time. If you've enjoyed this, please go to my Facebook page and leave a review, because your words mean more than mine to get people to these lessons, and it's lovely for me to read them too, I'll be honest. But it also gives other people the opportunity to know what they are getting when they attend these lessons. Okay, you really enjoyed the lesson and this helped you loads. I'm so pleased. And yeah, see you all soon. I will upload this onto YouTube as well, so people can use it at any point. And maybe if they become popular, I'll introduce a YouTube session as well, doing it later in the week. Okay, thanks for now, guys. And I'm going to say bye. If you want to join me for Maths in Motion, I'm going to repeat that lesson Friday, 11:30 on YouTube. Bye for now, guys.